creating the perfect investment portfolio for yourself sometimes doesn't need you to only buy individual companies. It needs you to also invest into ETF, exchange traded funds, so that you can be able to leverage the advantages and benefits and historical performance of ETF to build the world that you want. Because ETF have proven a good track record in terms of their performance, and they can ensure that you build the world that you want. You see growth in your investment portfolio just by using them. On today's video, guys, I'm sharing why I believe it's very important for individual beginner investors to invest into ETF and buy them and have them in their portfolio, as well as I'll be sharing which top 4 ETF I believe are a very important part of you starting your investment journey from my own point of view. So that is the video for today, guys. So do ensure hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and turn on notification bell to get notified whenever a brand new video I drop right here on my YouTube channel. Without wasting any time, guys, let's get into today's video. Hello future millionaires and billionaires, welcome to that insightful and informative video right here on my YouTube channel. My name is Ivan Sambo. I'm your guy right here on YouTube that simplify the world of investing, saving, budgeting, or even earning extra money for yourself within the South African context and keeping everything simple and easy to understand. On today's video, as I said in the intro, we're talking about exchange traded funds, aka ETF, why I believe every beginner investor must have them in their portfolio, as well as giving the pros, the pros on why they're so good to have, and also how they can help you ensure that you build so much wealth in your investments. And guys, do remember, ETF are the most easiest, cheapest way to start investing into a global market, local market, and different sectors. I'll be explaining all of that, but guys, do remember none of my video constitute as financial advice, but only for educational purposes. And also, guys, I said, please go do ensure you hit the like button and leave me a comment. Tell me what you think about today's video. So let's get into what exactly are ETF, exchange traded funds. I always love to use the simplest definition out there, which is that ETF are a basket of shares or basket of different asset classes. Let me make an example, right, of the JSE. We what we call the JSE top 40 biggest companies. So you can have an ETF that has shares of all the top 40 biggest companies grouped into one, and when you buy shares of that ETF, you're getting all the top 40 biggest companies with just one buy. So meaning that you don't have to buy one by all the top 40 biggest companies with just buying the single ETF. You get all the top 40 biggest companies in just one go. So basically, that's the most simplified definition I can give on what exactly is an exchange traded fund. So how do you buy them? Let's get to that, but I think that's the next question that everyone wants to understand. How do you buy ETF? ETF are available to buy whether you're using easy equity or you are using the ETF providers. For example, we have Centrix, we have ComShare, we have One Invest. All of those ones are what we call ETF providers, and those ETF providers also are acting as brokers, and you can use their website to buy ETF. I'm a big fan of the Centrix ETFs, so I buy them using the Centrix Now app to go get all my Centrix ETF I love. But if you're using it to Easy Equity is a brokerage platform which you can use to buy ETF from different categories of ETF providers. I know the Centrix ETFs are available there. ComShares ETF are available there. One Invest ETF are available there, and Easy Equity as well. So those are the ways in which you can buy ETF and invest into them in South Africa. So that is how you can buy them. So now let's get into the advantages of investing into ETF. There are four primary advantages on why I believe all of us as beginner investors, seasonal investors, whatever the case may be, you need to have ETFs in your portfolio. Guys, when I keep on looking down, I have my notebook right there. I keep all my notes. So when I keep on looking down, I'm referring to my notes, guys. So the first advantage of ETF is that they are flexible in terms of trading, right? When I say they're flexible in terms of trading, I mean when the market is open, in the JSE or in the New York stock market, you can buy ETF. You don't have to wait in a specific duration of time, or you don't have to wait in a specific amount, or whatever the case may be. In any given time that the JSE is open, you can buy and sell your ETF, making them more easy for people to use and buy and invest into them within their own timeline, not having to follow a timeline or a specific trading hours of a specific company or a specific provider. You just work with the timeline of the JSE. If the JSE is open from 9 until 5, you can buy ETF at any given time and you can sell them at any given time. That's the first advantage of ETF, is the flexible trading of them. The second thing, guys, that makes ETF very much a good investment is the diversification and risk management linked with it, right? So guys, with ETF, you are able to diversify your portfolio. What do I mean about that? For example, someone like me doesn't love to invest into specific companies. Let's say I don't like Sasol, but I want to be in the field where Sasol is. I can buy shares that follow mining companies. So I can just buy Sasol alone. I can buy a lot of companies that are in the mining field, knowing I'm covered in the mining. I'm diversifying my portfolio. I'm there in mining without having to buy one specific company in mining. I just buy an ETF that carries majority of companies that are in the mining field. Or what, let's say I want to go international, but I'm still in the JSE. I want to go to New York stock markets. I want to go to China. I want to go to whatever the case may be. I can just buy one ETF that covers and track the markets of China, the market of whatever country it is. ETF can do that. But sometimes you cannot buy shares of companies listed in China, but you may find that there's an ETF that tracks the performance of the Chinese markets, as an example. So ETF are good for diversifying your portfolio. And remember, when you diversify your portfolio, guys, you're doing what is called risk management. You're reducing your risk, knowing that you are in a different range of fields and geographical location. If something goes wrong in the JSE, you know you have an ETF that's in the New York stock market. You have an ETF that's tracking China. You have an ETF that's tracking Australia, whatever the case may be. So your risk is diversified, is spread out. So that's the good thing about ETF as well, guys. The third thing, or third advantage when it comes to ETF, is in terms of cost, right? Because you're just buying one ETF, there's a lot of assets under it, meaning a lot of shares under it. You incur less fees as compared when you buy one individual company, one by one. Because when you buy one by one, you incur a lot of fees for buying one by one companies. But when you buy an ETF, you just incur a small amount of fees, and you're able to get all the shares that you wanted with just one small fee that you pay in terms of your ETF investments. So ETF are low cost, they diversify, they reduce your risk as well, guys. They are easy to trade because they are flexible. At the same time, guys, ETF historical have proven to have a good track record of performance as compared to individual companies, because they diversify. You get one ETF that has 60 companies, for example, under it. If, for example, there's ShopRite, Standard Bank there, it has Capitec Bank there. If one company in that ETF goes wrong, the other companies that are performing well will cover it, reducing your risk. So that's the other advantage of ETF. The fourth advantage of ETF as well, guys, especially in the context of South Africa, is that when you invest in an ETF using your tax-free savings account, you don't have to pay a lot of tax, because ETF qualify to be under a tax-free savings account, meaning you can buy shares using ETF. You can buy ETF shares and not have to worry about paying 20% dividend tax in the dividends as you earn from your ETF. While if you have individual companies, when you buy their shares and they pay out dividends, you will be taxed, and a lot of tax implication comes with that. But with a tax-free savings account linked with investing into exchange trend funds, ETF, you don't have to worry about tax. So that's one of the other benefits in terms of ETF. Before we get into my top 4 ETFs I love the most, guys, do remember when you're doing research about ETF, it's very important to read a document called a minimum disclosure document, which is available on Google. You just go to Google, for example, and Google minimum disclosure documents of this and put the name of that specific ETF. For example, I would say minimum disclosure document of One Invest Top 40 ETF, and that will, it's typical the first link that will pop up. You click on it and you read that document, guys. It's typically a PDF document and it's about 3 to 4 pages. You read it will tell you everything you need to know about your ETF that you're investing into. It will tell you about the allocation of funds there, who manages that ETF, the fees of that ETF, the risk involved with that ETF. It will tell you the history performance, the backers of that ETF. It will tell you everything you need to know about ETF that you want to invest into. So when you're doing research about a specific ETF you want to buy, guys, do remember to read the minimum disclosure document of that specific ETF. So now let's get into my top 4 ETFs I love the most. Guys, English. The first one, guys, I have my notes right here. The first one for me has to be the Centrix RISI 10 ETF, guys. This is an ETF that's in the resource mining field, let's just say it like that, and tracks the biggest 10 companies in that field. This ETF, guys, is composed as follows. It is 45% general mining, it's 25% platinum, it's 19% gold, and has a management fee of 0.46% management fee. And this ETF has companies like Sasol, Anglo American, and it's very well structured. I love it because it gives me a lot of exposure into the mining field and the mining sector basically. And it's a sector I don't love having individual companies in. I just love having this ETF because I know I am getting the benefits of the mining field or the mining sector, but I don't have to buy individual companies there. So this is a good ETF I love to have for myself, and it's called the Centrix RISI 10. The second ETF I love the most, guys, for myself is the Centrix. Oh, by the way, guys, I invest into ETF using the Centrix Now app. So majority of my ETF are all Centrix ETF. So that's why all the ones I will mention right here are the Centrix one, because I use Centrix Now app to invest into ETFs. But they're also available this ETF on the Easy Equity app for those who are using Easy Equity as well. The second ETF I love the most, guys, the Centrix Fin ETF. Basically, it tracks the top 15 biggest financial companies in South Africa in the JSE, and it's made out of 68% banking companies, 15% life insurance companies. It's made out of 9% investment banking companies. This ETF, guys, also has a management fee of 0.46% and has companies like Standard Bank, Capitec Bank, Absa, Sanlam. They're all there, those companies. I don't own majority of those companies, individual shares of it. So knowing I have this ETF gives me a lot of benefits, because I know I get all those financial companies, all those big banks, big life insurance companies like Sanlam, for example. I know I get all of them in just buying this ETF. So that's why I love the Centrix Fin ETF, guys. Is a very good one for me. I love that. I put in my second spot. The third spot for me, guys, has to be the Centrix Industrial ETF. I love this one because it gives me exposure to the industrial side of South Africa, and I get companies, for example, like Naspers there. I'm getting Shoprite there. I'm getting Woolworths there, and it's very good investments. Also, I'm getting companies like MTN, Vodacom, which I don't own their individual companies. So having this ETF very does well for me, because I know I'm diversified in that industrial field. And this ETF is made up of 36% consumer-based companies like your Shoprite, your Naspers. It's 26% telecommunication companies like your MTN, your Vodacom, and has 27% tech companies as well. These are tech companies in the JSE, so I know I'm in that field as well. So that's why my number 3 spot, guys, goes to the Centrix Industrial ETF. It's basically the 25 biggest industrial companies in South Africa. My last one, which is my favorite, which is taking number 4 spot, has to be the Centric Nasdaq 100 ETF. I love this one because it gives me exposure to the largest top 100 largest companies. More specific, this one focuses on the tech companies, heavily tech. It doesn't have that much in financial companies, so I'm getting companies there like Apple, I'm getting Microsoft, I'm getting Tesla there. As much as I'm a big fan of Tesla, I know I have an ETF that covers Tesla as well, and it's performed very well. It has a 0.15% management fee, which is very low, and I love that about it. So that ETF really does it well for me. So that's how basically, guys, I pick my top 4 ETFs, and that's how I believe that you guys as well must ensure that you invest into ETF in your investment portfolio. Do not just buy shares of individual companies only, but also have ETF, because as I said, guys, they are a good foundation for your investment portfolio. They have a good track record. ETF tend to perform very well in the long run compared to individual companies as well. ETF are easy to understand, easy to use, easy to access, but you don't need that much money to buy into them. As I said, guys, ETF providers like Centrix, ComShares, One Invest do allow them to buy directly from them, or you can use Easy Equity to buy ETF for yourself. I'm using the Centrix Now app because I love Centrix Now app, but it's up to you what is favorable to you guys. As always, guys, do ensure you hit the like button. Let me know in the comment section what you think about today's video, guys. Also, guys, do ensure to listen to my podcast called the Student Investor Podcast with Ivan Sambo for more financial education about investing, saving, budgeting within the South African context. As always, guys, I'm really grateful for your support. Thank you so much. Until next time, I'm Ivan Sambo, your student investor.